And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Philly Station Morning Show. I'm William Cunningham alongside Ben Rikash and Isaac Mendel, coming to you live talking about sports and all the big things going on, particularly in the NBA here in hometown Philadelphia. Obviously a big point of drama. Ben Simmons, tons of rumors going around saying he doesn't want to be on the team, hasn't been in contact with Embiid and some of the other players. There are rumors saying he wants to go to California. I want your thoughts on this, Ben. Do you think he wants to be in Philadelphia, much less is he going to be a Sixer heading into this year?
You know, a few days ago, the great Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN reported that Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia front office, staff, players, etc. haven't talked in weeks. I think that's a sign that he's not going to be back next year. Whether he wants to be back, they want him back. I don't think he's going to be back. The relationship, they've tried everything they can. I don't think that he's going to be back. Whether Daryl Morey, the GM, ships him out for nothing or everything, that's the question. But I think that they will find a way to get him out if he wants to be out.
And before we move on to you, Isaac, I just want to let you know we are taking callers. Just call the number 236-587-4545 if you want to call us and talk about the stuff. But now, Isaac, obviously you have some different opinions on Ben Simmons, I heard.
The Sixers are simply asking too much for Ben Simmons. I mean, this is a guy that just can't finish a job, he can't play in big games, he doesn't have a jump shot, and he makes way too much money. So I'm just wondering how people believe that somebody is going to take Ben Simmons' contract. We've seen what he's done. What has he done in big situations? What has he done to prove to you that he is going to improve and become a guy that can play in big-time situations? He's done nothing.
Hang on, we have a caller. We have a guy. This is Alec from Southern PA. How are you doing, Alec? You are on the Philly station.
Good, how are you?
We're doing good. So, what are you calling us about?
I'm calling you about what would you take for Ben Simmons? You know, he's a player who's lost his confidence. He's not really shooting all that much. What would you take for him?
You know, I appreciate the call. First of all, thank you for listening. I think Ben Simmons is still a really valuable player in this league. He brings a lot to the table that almost every team could use on a daily basis. Maybe it doesn't fit with Philly right now, but I think that all 30 teams could use his expertise at some level. So whether it depends on what you have to give up to get him, depending on what position you're in as a team.
Well, Simmons is a player where his obviously his defense is a strong suit. Now Simmons, he's an elite defender. There's no question about it. He may be the best in basketball. Him, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now Simmons, for $30 million, you can find good defense for much less than $30 million. Now it's not worth it if he's just playing defense. He can't hit a jump shot. He's choking. It's not worth paying that contract, and it's only going up. You make about $33 million next year, $35 million the year after. It's only going up. So if the Sixers can find someone that's going to actually take on that contract and even give them something for it, you got to do it. But they have to lower their expectations in trade talks.
You know, Isaac, I see Ben Simmons playing sort of a Draymond Green type role in any sort of given team. He can play real good defense. He can play make on the post, on the wing, wherever it may be, and he can lead a team in the locker room. He can be there for everybody, and he's just a good presence and a good player.
Hey, you said you expect Ben Simmons to lead the team. Explain to me how he would lead the team. My concern is that he hasn't been outspoken. There have been reports saying he's been baby throughout the locker room. That doesn't seem to be the traits of being a leader in the locker room.
I think that this experience over the past year or two has given him what he needs to realize that he can make a real impact. Players look up to him. He's a really good player, and he deserves to be in this league. And I think that he brings some valuable traits to a team. And I think that leadership, he's developing a good sense of leadership, and I think that that's what he can bring to a team.
You mentioned the Draymond Green rule. Did Draymond Green ever make $30 to $35 million in his career? A year? Was his cap hit ever that high?
The league was different back then.
It doesn't matter if the league was different. Draymond Green never made that kind of money. Bruce Brown with the Nets doesn't make that money. Nerlens Noel doesn't make that money. You can find guys that play defense, and maybe it's not as good as Simmons' defense, but then you use that money to go out and get a guy that's going to actually score and get the job done for you in big-time situations.
Sure, the 76ers front office might have had higher hopes for Ben Simmons when they drafted him, when they signed him, when they almost built the team around him, but I think that he can bring some value to that contract. Even if he may be a little bit overpaid, he can still bring value to a team.
I mean, you're paying Simmons not just to be a great defender, but a great scorer. This is a guy who the
Exactly.
Sixers see. He could score like 30, even 40 points a game. He had 42 points one game against the Jazz. He's put up consistent scoring numbers and some streaks, and then he goes on to have cold streaks where he puts up 6, or maybe that one playoff game where he had 1 point. I mean, Simmons has been an up and down guy. May this situation end soon. Whether it be Morey exclaiming that Simmons won't be traded, or if he does get traded, please let this misery for Philadelphia sports end. And until then, we will now shift to more misery, heading into a different sport, the NFL, the NFC East, the worst division in football, but the most competitive division in football. Obviously, there are 4 teams who have been terrible, but will make a run at this pathetic division title. Who comes out on top?
You know, this division has been close for years, but it's been close at the bottom. Not many teams have gotten over 10 wins, but I think this year is the year for the Washington football team. I think with the last year with this name, I think that they make a statement with it. I think that they make it so that it's remembered. I think that this is a year for history with Ryan Fitzpatrick, their great defense with Chase Young and others. I think that they get out on top.
I think you're right. I think the Washington football team, they're just the most complete team. They're simply the most complete team. They're the best coach team. And look at that division. Now, anyone making a case for the Giants, I'm not even going to give you the time of day. I mean, let's look at Daniel Jones, Joe Judge, Dave Gettleman. All I see there is ineptitude. I don't see anything good. I don't see even really a bright future. I think Saquon Barkley, great running back, great talent, but he's coming back from a big injury. I don't really trust that offensive line. You can't run the ball to the left every single time. So I'm really not sure how people are considering the Giants for this division. I think it's a clear-cut Washington football team. And Fitzpatrick, all he needs to do is be an above-average quarterback, slightly above average. So he was fine in Miami. He was decent towards the end of the year in Miami, when he was playing in for Tua when they needed to throw the ball. So then Fitzpatrick only just has to be slightly above average, and they're going to win football games. And I can even see them winning 10.
I don't know, guys. I'm kind of thinking Dallas here. I mean, think about it. With Prescott at quarterback, obviously you have 3 receivers who can all be top-tier talents. You have Zeke running the ball whenever he doesn't fumble the football. All that Giants defense needs to do is take a step to getting something beyond horrible, which, by the way, I think the drafting of Micah Parsons can easily carry him to that level of not being terrible. If that offense lives up to its potential, if Dak comes back, plays healthy, and plays the way he did in those few games last year, I see the Cowboys winning 10 games. It pains me as a Philly sports guy to say this, but they have that potential.
They do, and the Cowboys are a team, and obviously Dak signed a lucrative contract, and I'm not really sure what to expect from them. It'll be an interesting division, but Washington football team, I do believe, comes out on top.
I have to agree with you on this one, Isaac. The Washington football team's defense is just far superior, and no team will score very much against them.
Well, let's hope we find a division winner soon. Until then, thank you for joining us here on the Philly Sports Radio Show. Signing off until tomorrow.